So I'm finna talk about hold up. I'm finna talk about sobriety and also like socialization. So let's get into this shit, right? I can't sleep. It's 3:37 a.m. I'm an insomniac on some dirt shit. I really can't sleep, bro. And no, on some meek shit. Cause I really can't fucking sleep. Meek and Friday shit. Cause Meek say you in the song. Whatever, bro. So, what's it called? I just recently figured out that like what it means to be friends with someone, or what it means to be a friend to someone. I wrote a whole dissertation. It's right here. Hold up. It's like, all right, motherfucker. Friends share experiences together. Friends come together for shared interests. Friends have shared interests and share personal things in their life stemming from the source of their shared interests. We both collect. All right, whatever. That's an example. Shared interests. So basically, I came to the conclusion that you don't have to have shared interests with someone to be their friend. You don't have to like the same shit and shit like this, stuff like that. You don't have to have you do have to have the same personality. Basically, in order for somebody to be a friend or consider a friend or be in the category of a friend, they just have to have the same emotional regulation as you do. And then anything else outside that, it helps if you guys have shared interests, because then however they regulate their emotions around that shared interest, or how they react to things that's going on within that shared interest, then if that correlates with how you are and how you react to things that are going on within that shared interest that you guys both have, then you both sort of have the same emotional regulation, and then from that you can stand to be around that person. And if you can stand to be around that person, you might even develop something where you can enjoy that person's company. So it's not just, I stand this person, to now, this is an acquaintance, to it's now I enjoy this person. Yeah. Oh my god, people who talk for a living, I have respect for you guys. I have so much more respect for you guys, because bro, this shit, it's a skill. Anyway, I'm not yawning and shit because I don't really use this, I don't really talk like that OD. And that's a great segue into what I've been thinking about with socialization, which is, it's a skill, baby. It's a skill. I haven't seen my friends in a couple years, just because I've been trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with me, and I've been steeped in spirituality and stuff like that. But recently my spirit guides, which are just tarot card readers and stuff on YouTube and stuff, but that speak to me, and they just call for me to click on their videos because there is a message in there for me. Recently they've been saying it's time to get out, because I'm a hermit. I'm hibernating. I do it a lot. They're it's time to get out. It's time to see your people. And the fact that I just wrote this dissertation, I don't know what the fuck a dissertation is. I just think it's a long, fancy writing thing. So that's basically what I did, a long, fancy writing thing. Okay. That's some information. But bro, come on. I wrote a whole thing. I did a whole thing figuring out what the hell friendship is. Okay? Hopefully I didn't leak any goddamn information. But I always do this. What the fuck? But yeah, bro, so basically and then basically friends, since the shared interest thing is you guys both have this one thing that you care about. Let's say it's anime, let's say it's basketball, right? But that's a shared interest that'll link you guys. You know what I mean? And then from there, you separate in your subgroups of who you like within that, based on your level of skill within that thing. So let's say basically your level within that thing. So if you like basketball, LeBron and Kyrie are friends, they're at that level. The thing that links them is basketball, and they probably have similar mindsets, the drive to win, this and that. And for the similar mindset and emotional regulation thing, which is the base for what you need to be a friend and is the definition. What's it called? For that, you can most often find that within shared interests, and that's why people say friends have shared interests, because basically if your friend is like you, they'll probably gravitate. basically, if someone has the same emotional regulation as you, they probably gravitate towards the same interest as you, which is why people say just follow your interest, and then you'll find people that are most likely like you. You know what I mean? And then that's the same thing as, and then this is how I figured out, I wrote this a couple days ago, this is how I figured out like fashion, like fashion is just like the physical interpretation of your emotional regulation, or like what's within your head, because it's literally what you're choosing to adorn your body with, and it's literally like encompassing your body within like a shell maybe, but it's clothing, so you know how clothing works, but it's encompassing your body within a shell of like, this is what the inside of my head looks like outside. So you see people with crazy outfits, you see Bloody O with a crazy outfit, you see all these like fashion influencers doing this and that. It's like, can I see myself in that? Can I not? How do I know which group do I fit in within this fashion thing? Which subgenre do I fit in within this fashion thing? And am I more Rick Owens, dark aesthetic, dark goth, you know, avant-garde, or am I like Chanel or Hermes, where it's like I'm more like, and I've gotten more into fashion, which is like I have a temperament for that, emotional regulation, stuff like that. And then, you know, I could be all fashionable and talk all quiet and shit like they do and smoke cigs. And that's another thing. Let's switch it back to sobriety. But anyway, let me finish this point. But Hermes and stuff like that. So you got Balenci, and then you got Hermes and shit like that, and Chanel and shit like that. So it's like it's more like quiet luxury. Chanel, Hermes is more like minimal. You know what I mean? Pieces. Yeah, and they're more focused on like, I don't know, everyday wear, whereas like Rick is like more focused on like, or is it, where's Matsu Blasi? Is he Chanel? He's Chanel. I think Rick Owens is his own thing. So Rick Owens, you know, separate from Balenci. I don't know these fucking, I just know a lot of brands, but I don't know. I gotta like research this more, I guess, but not really, because I'm just talking. But like, you know what I mean? Like, you have the dark aesthetic, and then you have the old money, the light aesthetic. I don't know what the fuck to call it. The minimal aesthetic, stuff like that. Hermes, like Chanel, like those are only two brands that I know that does that. And then you have like a mix of both, and like a brand like Milk of Lime, which is like they're so cool. They're just cool. And they're kind of like a mix of both, where it's just like, I don't know, bro. But like, yeah, so it's like, but within those, like, you have people who will gravitate towards the same thing because it's all within the fashion umbrella. But then, you know, so they're just like coworkers, so they're not really friends, but they all can be friends, even if, let's say, Rick can be friends with Matsu Blasi, because let's just say they have the same emotional regulation. So maybe Rick reacts to something the same way that Matsu Blasi reacts to something, but maybe they don't have the same opinion about it, but they can still be friends. Why? Because it's not the opinion, having the same one, that makes them connected. It's how they handle having that opinion. So, you know, somebody could freak out over something that you're totally calm about, and you're just like, what's wrong with you? They don't have the same emotional regulation as you. So even if you try to get around them, or if you ever been around like a loud friend who always makes a scene everywhere they go, and you're not like that, like, you guys probably aren't suited to be friends. Like, even if you are, a lot of us just find ourselves friends with people who are like, it's circumstantial. So when you get older, you start to find like people who like you actually gravitate towards, and like they actually like enjoy the same things you do, and you have the same emotional regulation, the same temperament as them. But a lot of times that shit is hard because you're trying to figure out life. You're trying to figure out life like beyond all this fucking shit, and like beyond all the, like, I don't know, the Degrassi shit and like the fucking high school bullshit or whatever, trying to find friends and whatever the fuck, right? So, but yeah, but then like switching from, okay, so I finished that point, right? So just because two things are light and dark doesn't mean that you can't be friends. If you like the light thing and the other person likes the dark thing, it's how you both react to what's happening within those things that makes you guys friends. And it doesn't even have to be like someone who likes fashion could be friends with someone who likes tennis, and they could be talking, they could ask them about like, oh, what do you like about tennis? Oh, what do you like about fashion? This and that, this and that, and they're talking, chopping it up, whatever, right? They're chopping it up and whatever, right? But like what makes them friends is like their emotional regulation and like how they carry themselves. So basically, to be friends with somebody is how you carry yourself. If you carry yourself the same way as them, how you guys maneuver about in the world, which is basically your emotional regulation and your temperament, and how you guys react to different things, which is basically your emotional regulation and your temperament. So what did I write at the end was the conclusion to find out if you... Okay, boom. Friends, people who do the same things to get the same feelings. So, oh shit, what? Oh, because the emotional regulation thing. Okay, cool. So, people want to feel things. Oh my god, I really wrote a whole long. Okay, too long, didn't read. Friends are people who like to experience the same emotions. They perform tasks that help them accomplish this feeling/emotion. Whatever, right? So, you like to experience something, somebody else likes to experience that same thing, but it's not an action. It's about the emotion. You like to feel an emotion, and so you do something to induce the feeling of that emotion. I like to feel adrenaline because it makes me feel like I'm, I don't know, progressing physically or whatever. I used to play football, I used to do track, so I don't know, I just got accustomed to like adrenaline and like putting pressure and pain on my body, so that's something I like. But maybe I don't play basketball for that, or maybe I don't go to the gym for that. Maybe I go to the gym for that, and somebody else wants to feel that same way. They want that same adrenaline, they want that same pressure on their body, because at the end of the day they know it feels good for them and not bad, even though it might be like feel bad in the moment, or be work in the moment. Sorry, I have to check this time because I'm using my phone and stuff like that, but I can't see. But really though, like, and they can want that same feeling, right? So you guys are sort of like, I feel like within that you guys have the same sort of temperament, because you guys both want to experience this thing, and then they could go to the gym for that too. So you guys both want to experience this thing, so you basically have the same temperament. I don't know, kind of, I think, right? And then, but let's say I run. Let's say I go to the gym and I run, because that's the kind of adrenaline I want to feel, and I like when I'm like, my lungs are like collapsing. And somebody else goes to the gym and they squat because they love the pressure that their thighs get, and they love how big their legs come out looking after they've made some progress in the gym from it. We both want to feel that exhaustion, but in different ways. It's the same thing with people who play sports, because that's why people across sports genres all admire other people from sports genres and stuff like that, because they're all in it for the same thing. They're just accomplishing that same feeling, doing different tasks. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that is like temperament. But like, moving from that, which is like friends and like how to be friends and like how to socialization, which is what I said I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about like I forget, socialization, it's hard, how to be friends, something else, god motherfucking damn it, I don't know, bro. But yeah, like, I gotta think about this. Oh, sobriety. Yeah. So that's socialization, right? And then sobriety is like, I've been sober recently, 4 days. So I'm trying to keep that up. I'm like mentally done with weed. I never really drank like that because it was never really anything. It's just something I did to pass the time. And then I thought to curb off weed, I would like buy a vape pen. So I've been juuling and stuff like that. But I threw the juul, I threw the liquid I threw the pods away. I'm just over it, bro. Like, so now I've just been like, my body's just like getting back to normal since I'm done with porn and stuff like that. I don't watch that shit anymore. So it's like, I'm sober Wober. I'm Wober. Wober's a character I created when I was like 20 or maybe 19. But yeah, because that's when I was trying to go sober and I was just creating a bunch of like alter egos for myself. But anyway, bro, I'm Wober now, and like, my body's like coming back to like what it was. So now I'm trying to figure out the science of everything, which is like what my brain already does, and which is the only reason I try to figure out, or not figure out, but the only reason why I did drugs and all that stuff in the first place, try to like turn my brain off. And my brain is always thinking about like all the details of everything. And it's crippling, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I'm gonna try to like see my friends because I figured out socialization, which is basically the easiest shit ever. You just find shared interests, and it's like, but more than that, this is the thing that you and your friends do more than anything when you hang out. This is what hanging out means. So now we're all sobriety. I'm just sober, so now we're back to socialization. Hanging out means you and your friends reacting to things together. Together. You and your friends reacting to things together. You know what I mean? Because most likely that's a shared interest. It could be some shit that both of y'all don't fuck with, but you're just like, what the fuck is this? You and your friends reacting to things together. You know why? Because that induces your emotional regulation about how you see the world and how you maneuver in the world and how you take action when catalysts happen to you, and what kind of actions you take determines your emotional regulation. So there could be a fight at a bar, and we're all at the bar, all our friends were chilling. Somebody at our table, or one of our friends who doesn't quite have this, or not one of our friends, right? Somebody who doesn't have the same emotional regulation at our table as us, or maybe let's say it's a whole separate table. They could be like, oh shit, oh yo, world star, blah blah blah. But people at my table, because this is how I handle it, so I feel like I'd want to be around people who have the same emotional regulation as me and blah blah blah, right? So it's like how I would handle it, and I would want them to handle it the same way. But we would be like, damn, that's crazy, like let's, and then we'd just be on go, like we'd just be looking like everybody else like silent, but we'd be on go because you know you can't. Maybe that shit transferred over to our shit. They don't give a fuck about who they swinging on, so now they swinging on us type shit. Yeah, so you know we be on P's and Q's, but we also be quiet because we ain't really trying to insert ourselves, but we really ain't pussy. So you feel me? If anything goes, we just be on P's and Q's and shit. But saying that because it's like we'd all know what to do. We'd all have that hive mind. We're friends. You know what I mean? We have the same emotional regulation. I know what he's probably gonna do. He probably knows what she's gonna do, and we can all move in a succinct fucking unit. That's socialization. So how to be friends with someone and what being friends means is just having the same temperament, having the same emotional regulation. Those are the two biggest things in what it means to be friends with somebody. My cousin was talking about this girl she was friends with, who the other girls who are acquaintances of hers but not really her friends, my cousin's friends, they don't really approve of her relationship when they see her with this other girl, because the other girl doesn't really dress like them, like a Barbie and shit like that, and like all type of shit. She's like tomboyish, I think the girl was saying, or I think my cousin was saying, but the girl's like super genuine and like super cool to be around. So it's like, but you notice how the fashion doesn't make them friends. You notice how what they're into doesn't make them friends. You notice how the fact that my cousin's other colleagues, even though they don't think she should be hanging out with that girl because of the image, that isn't what stops them from being friends. What makes them friends is the fact that they have the same emotional regulation, so they can hold the conversation back and forth, and they both understand the dance of that. You go, I go, and then they have the same temperament, which is the same as emotional regulation for me, but I feel like it's a little different, so I just say temperament, but it's like the same shit kind of. So to be friends with somebody means you have the same emotional regulation. So now that I know that, I understand that I'm friends with all my friends, and the fact how long is this video? 18. And yes, I'm friends with all my friends, but because we have somewhere along the line the same emotional regulation. But now that I understand and I broke this down, I understand that within that comes task, or not task, but like different interests, which now present what type of emotional regulation you might have. So my interest is writing. I have a blog. I write superauracle.substack.com. Definitely check it out. It's in the link in the description in every video. Definitely check out brofibroke.com. That Kanye broke. We ain't got it. That's what that's based off of. brofibroke.substack.com. It's definitely in the description below. So check everything out there. But yeah, like I have a blog, so you can imagine my temperament is like I'm an easygoing person. I'm a writer, so you know what I mean. I'm a writer and an artist. That's my last video. I don't work with my hands, motherfucker. I'm famous. I'm a writer and an artist. I'm goddamn famous. I don't work with my hands. Shout out to all the blue collar workers. You feel me? I just got my HVAC certification. I'm a universal. So shout out. But I definitely work with my hands. But what's it called? Yeah. So yeah, I'm a writer, so it's like you have to imagine my emotional regulation and everything. I'm like super calm person. I'm super like emotionally regulated. I'm super like emotionally mature. So it's like I understand things from different perspectives and stuff like that. Also, I'm an empath, so it's like I instinctually know that stuff. So it's like, would I want to be around the rowdy motherfucker, this and that? When they say opposites attract, sometimes like that's true too. So it's like now being that you have this framework, you understand that opposites attract. You can understand what you're looking for in the opposite of maybe your emotional regulation has held you back, and maybe you overcorrect this, so it's like you're a little bit docile now, and you don't stand up for yourself because you're so emotionally regulated, and you think that was like a positive. But then, anyway, like maybe you attracted somebody who's the opposite of that because it shows you something within yourself that you would like to become, like more so. Maybe you don't want to fully transform into that, but it's like you want to become that more so than you already are. So it's like you gravitate first like somebody who isn't like you at the present moment. You know what I mean? So it's just a framework. Now that I understand what it means after 26 years, you know what I mean? And it's not just like hanging out. I can now chill with my friends. But since like your emotional regulation and stuff like that is usually tied to what you do, I was just talking about that. Since I'm a writer, yeah, all my friends are artists though, and all my friends make music, and all my friends are like fashion designers, like literally fashion designers who hold fashion shows and like rent out, venues and stuff like that, and like have pop-up shops and like have like vendors and stuff like that, and like sell their art and do all that stuff. And they're so cool. I haven't popped up to any one of those because like obviously, as you can tell from the video, I was wrapping my head around all this shit and still trying to figure out what this all means. But now that I understand what it means to be friends, which is just like you having the same shared emotional regulation as somebody, so it's like you guys can go back and forth and not skip a beat and not get so offended at every single thing that's coming out of either one of you guys' mouth towards the other person, because you guys both know that you have that shared emotional regulation that's not gonna like turn this left. So you can always go on a straight forward path, and it's like it'll always be a good time when you're with those people. Now that I know that, I'm ready to pop out. So that's just some shit I figured out, and I'm newly sober. So you feel me? Like I might slip up here and there, but that's what I'm going for. And the slip up here and there shouldn't be insignificant. You feel me? So I'm definitely trying to like get off all that stuff. Like it'll be the test in 2 days because I get paid in 2 days. So it's like I could go cop or whatever, but I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna sit on the bread and like, you feel me? Let it stack up. So that's all I have to say for today. Check out everything in the description below. My Instagram is 7072.son, superauracle.substack.com, bro5bro.substack.com. Peace.